Hello and welcome to this special programme coming to you from the new Commonwealth War Graves Cemetery in Fromelles, northern France. Today, the last of 250 bodies will be buried at this cemetery in the presence of the Prince of Wales. The men, Australian and British, were killed in battle 94 years ago today. German soldiers created mass graves for the bodies. They lay there until this historian, who researched the history of the battle, discovered them and persuaded the authorities that the bodies were there to be discovered and should be given a dignified burial. This is down to all of your own hard work. How do you feel now it's all been recognised?
It's been a wonderful result. It's been a long journey, but there's been a lot of really good help along the way. I went back and looked for aerial photographs behind the German lines, looking for anomalies in the ground. So eventually we found photographs of this ground prior to the battle, and there was nothing at all. Then we have aerial photographs of the ground 2 weeks after the battle, and it's been clearly dug. The boys of Pheasant Wood will finally have their dignity, and in 96 cases their identity. So from this anonymous ground they'll go into defined rest ground, and people will be able to make that pilgrimage.
We were there at the dig in May 2009 when the excavations on the mass graves had just begun. Work is now underway for the cemetery. During the excavation, over 6,200 artefacts were found and 96 of the 250 bodies have been identified. We were lucky enough to meet Tim, whose relation was the first man to be identified. We met him at the site of the mass grave.
My great uncle was Private Harry Willis from the 31st Battalion, Australian Imperial Force, and he was killed about 700 metres away, just over here, and his body was put on a little trolley, brought on the railway track down the side of this wood that you can see behind us, and he was offloaded and dragged into a pit. That's where those yellow flowers are. You can see where that Australian flag is now. That marks the place where he was found. He was the first man identified. He was a 19-year-old kid, and he had 5 brothers who also served in France. 2 of them died in France, and 2 more died the year after they got back of the effects of gas.
TNT news cameras visited the cemetery in January this year to see the first burial take place. Back here at the cemetery, Tim is one of 8,000 people awaiting the arrival of the coffin. The men involved have been rehearsing for this big occasion. This is the final rehearsal of the procession before tomorrow's event. The coffin is borne on a general service wagon, which was the standard form of army transport in World War I. And here comes the procession into the cemetery, accompanied by British and Australian troops.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters.
Prince Charles walks in behind the coffin, accompanied by the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia.
Even though I walk through the valley of the dark shadow, I will fear no evil.
Now Prince Charles and the Governor-General both lay wreaths at the Cross of Sacrifice, followed by the French Minister of State for Defence and Veterans and the Duke of Kent, the President of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. As Prince Charles gives his speech, let's give ourselves a reminder of what the battle was about. Around 5,500 Australians and 1,500 British were reported killed, wounded or missing in the battles near Fromelles. One day, on the 19th of July 1916, 1,780 Aussies and 503 British troops died. Many local men from the Royal Warwickshire Regiment were killed near the Rue de Trivoli. This road across here is roughly where the British front line was. Let's go and have a look. The German front line roughly down there, with Fromelles just behind them trees over there. The official records for the Royal Warwickshire Regiment report most officers were killed alongside 9 other men, 68 were listed as missing and 154 wounded after a large number of machine guns opened heavy fire on them, mowing down the advancing lines. One remarkable thing we found was the remains of a bunker, and for many years it was thought to be the one Adolf Hitler had used when he was serving here in World War I. But we met up with the editor of this magazine, who showed photos of Hitler visiting another nearby bunker in World War II, and it is now thought this one was his actual bunker. It was on the front line, but now lies in a cornfield overlooking Fromelles. Hitler was known to have been billeted for a while in this nearby house. At nearby Aubers Ridge Cemetery, we saw the graves of a number of Ladywood men. This is the grave of Private Newby of Bromsgrove Street, and next to him is the grave of Private Peters of Washington Street, and they're both buried side by side.
Sergeant Hillman lived in St Mark Street in Ladywood, same street as my mum and my nan.
And now, as the crowds begin to disperse, the Commonwealth War Graves Commission will continue their search to identify the unknown soldiers and give them the headstones they deserve. We hope you enjoyed the programme. From me, Alex Pulowski, on this memorable occasion in Fromelles, goodbye and thanks for watching.